Well, first I'll just give you guys a little bit of background on the bank. Founded in 1997 by a developer out of the Midwest, and that's where we're headquartered in Chicago. We have a lending office here in Los Angeles, and then we have a lending office in New York. And those are the two markets that we're focused on lending. I think a lot of people would call us an entrepreneurial type bank because we're out in the market actually looking to make loans. I was at a conference yesterday up in San Francisco for builders, and I met a developer, and he said, "So you're a bank, like a real bank?" And a brick and mortar bank? Yes, we have actual branches in Chicago, and we're a bank, and we're FDIC insured, and we make loans. So, the good thing about, and I get a lot of this, you know, like Derek, I get a lot of calls about small lot subdivision. A lot of calls about small lots. Most people want to build small lots right now. And a lot of fact finding on, you know, they're probably talking to Derek and then they're hanging up the phone and calling me. I don't know. But there's a lot of curiosity about it, and that's because there's been a lot of success. Todd's project was extremely successful on the worst time in the market. Our own other clients that had condo projects, these huge 20, 30 unit condo projects, couldn't sell a condo project, couldn't sell a unit. Todd sold out his entire building, and kind of set the market on values. And so now every time I talk to a developer about a small lot project, I go, yeah, because they want to know if we understand the product type, and I say, yeah, we understand it. We finance Todd's project. And they go, oh yeah, I know Todd. No, I talked to Todd. So there's like Chuck, there's Charles Schwab. Talk to Chuck. It's like talk to Todd is the other guy. So you haven't talked to Todd yet, get his number and call him, and you'll find out a lot about small lots. The project that we also financed in Venice, Omar is extremely knowledgeable, and he's always willing to talk to people about how to get it entitled, because that's the biggest hurdle, I think, for a lot of developers to figure out how to do it. Okay, so you guys, when I heard Derek was putting together a presentation, I got the information today that he had a presentation. I was a little jealous. So I didn't have a lot of time, so I spent a few hours. You guys can pass these around. I don't know if you guys can help out. I have kind of a bum knee today. Okay, pass this to these people. Something you could have on your take home with you. So I do a lot of tracking of the market, and now this is just my work and what I've been following the market. Right now, there's 516 units that are either in entitlement or under construction through 24 projects that I know about. So that's about a 21 per unit project average. There's some bigger small lot projects that are in entitlement right now. 50 unit projects all over the place. I talked to a developer a couple of days ago who said, I don't know if I want to build in a certain market because he already can see that there's a lot of action over there, and he's a little nervous about it. And you can see the concentration. There's a lot in Silver Lake, Hollywood, and then just a small amount in the West LA area, but that's starting to pick up too. What you don't see yet is anything really in the valley. And although I met a guy yesterday who got a project in the valley, he's going to build 20 some odd units over there, but entry level. So kind of interesting, because most of these projects that are actually getting built are really high end finishes, high end product, high price points, and this guy's looking to sell homes for $300,000, $400,000. So he's going to send me the information about it, and I'll find out more if it makes sense. On a price per unit that people are purchasing these properties, on the low end, $92,000 a door, up to $250,000 a door. The median's around $163,000. What I'm seeing as far as hard costs, people are buying them at 120, or buying them. They're building them at $120 to $250 a foot. The average is around $160 a foot. And on a pro forma basis, anywhere from $425 a foot to $629 a foot. And the average there is around $478 a foot. And most of the units that they're looking to build around 1,600 square feet.
just clarify that 160 costs is hard costs.
Hard costs.
Yeah.
Oh, did I not say that?
Yeah, that's right. I don't want these people
Hard
all
costs.
thinking, oh, look at, I can make so many, I'm leaving
Well,
right now.
I would say the same thing. Yeah, yeah.
It's expensive to develop.
Yeah, hard cost is about 160. And then on an absorption basis, most people are saying that they think they can sell around 2 per month, 2 homes per month. Some developers are talking about phasing projects, that you guys are doing that for kind of a different purpose, but some are discussing phasing it just because they want to make sure that, you know, they can get the units on the market sold. They don't want to build this big project, have a big loan, you know, when it's fully funded, that's when you're paying the most interest, and then you have to try to sell those units. It eats up at your profit. Okay, so that was that. Why we like this product type? One is because it's popular. There's a lot of momentum behind it. Buyers really like it. They like the fee simple ownership of it, the no HOA dues. But when a bank's looking at a property and a project, and ultimately we're looking, okay, well, we're going to make this loan, but how are we going to get out of the loan? And what's happened in the condo market, which hasn't been too great, is that you have banks that are very conservative in lending on condo projects, especially brand new construction. They used to do 30%, they had a 30% pre-sale requirement. And this was mostly funded by MetLife. They would warehouse the loans, then they go out and sell them in the secondary market. So you'd only have to get 30% pre-sold, and then you could go out and start closings. Well, that's changed. Now it's 51%. And so with this type of product, you don't have any pre-sale requirements. So you can go and build it and sell it right away. That's a big plus, and that helps us in our underwriting. So on a you know, you've talked to Derek, and you've talked to Todd now, and now you've talked to everybody else, and you want to talk about financing and how to structure something that would get a loan approved. One of the things that we're looking at, and the first thing we look at is the plans. We've seen some pretty awful plans. We've seen buildings that with master bedrooms that don't have closets. We've seen washers and dryers in the basement when it's a 4-story unit. You know, you don't want to have to walk down 4 stories to do your laundry. It's not practical. Those days of building anything and the buyer didn't care because they were going to just buy it and hold on to it. They were going to flip it and make some money. Those days are over. People are looking to buy, and we all know this, they're going to have to maybe live in it for 10 years. So they're thinking about how practical the space is. Your walls were straight. It was like a fun house, you know. It's like, yeah. And when the developer said, "Well, what's the problem?" I said, "Well, who's going to live in this?" But the city approved it, so what's the problem? I don't know. That was the end of that conversation. And then another one too is the bedroom count, you know, making sense. That's something that we're looking at. We had a developer that submitted a project to us that had these 2,000 square foot 1-bedroom units, and you know, they asked him, well, where can you find 1-bedroom condo sale? You know, condo sales, because you really can't look at small lot. There's no product out there to really compare to. Where can you find a 2,000 square foot 1-bedroom in the market? And, you know, it's like, well, we can put a wall here after we build it. These are probably things I shouldn't tell you. Well, okay. Another thing we're looking at is does the cost of construction is it go in line with the level of finishes? So, you know, it has to all make sense. You know, if you're going to be putting in high-end finishes, and you're like, well, you know, we can buy it here in China and, you know, this and that. Sometimes it just doesn't make sense. We have to be able to go out and look at what your cost is, and if you can't make it, can we have another developer step in and be able to build at that same cost? So, and then as far as the team, you know, most people are coming in and they have it's a partnership. Who's on your team? There's a lot of players coming into the small lot market that are out of this market. We have people coming in from Orange County, San Diego, other states, and I wouldn't be surprised if other countries start coming in and wanting to build this. But when we're looking at a developer, we're saying, well, have you ever built in LA before? Do you know this market? Do you really understand it? And so when you're putting your team together, make sure you guys have experience in the market that you're building in. You probably don't have experience in this particular product type in small lot. Some of you actually have built projects, but those of you that haven't, are you is your development team? You guys have only built industrial or office or retail, or have you at least built some single families before, or have you built a condo project? These are things that were important to us. 70% loan to cost is what we're maxing out, and that's land, hard cost, soft cost, and financing cost.
You just gave me 65.
Okay. The market's improving. Yeah, we just financed his last project that he was talking about in Mount Washington as well. So
we'll get another 5% out of before the night's over.
The next one will be the next one. 75. Another thing we really like about small lots too is that the final track map is in place. So even if a guy comes to us with a condo project and it's just a tentative map, we're not gonna give him a condo value on that. So that you can't really. Well, I guess you guys have figured out a way, but
you early start.
Early starts, but yeah, but you can't. We would have to evaluate it as a rental, basically.
Yeah.
Where I think it would come from.
No, but you can even do an early start on a small lot. Aside from the whole rental thing, you can do an early start.
An early start. Oh, with
you can start construction before the map's recorded.
Okay. So now this is something you guys talk to him about, and I need to talk to him about too.
Yeah.
But there is something with like fast tracking, which I've heard about.
That's different.
That's different.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you fill in. As far as when we're looking at your budget, you might as well just add in a 10% contingency on your hard costs. That's what we're going to put on there. We're going to also require that you sign contracts with your major subs. So not the guys necessarily at the end of the project, but the guys up front, your concrete, framing, steel, and your majors, drywall, stucco, your painting. Todd, that was something we didn't do in the past, so this is the new world of banking, so we had to get used to that one. The typical term is 18 months for an initial term, and it's a 1-point fee for that. And then if you want to get an extension, there's certain hurdles you have to make, get the project completed. Maybe you have some units in escrow. But if you meet those qualifications, then you can get a 3-month extension for a 1/4 point, and then some additional hurdles, you get another 3-month extension for a 1/4 point. But that's all flexible. I mean, if it's a bigger project, then you would have to adjust things, and we size each deal individually. So I'm just kind of giving you general information. The timing, usually it's a 60-day close. The best time to come to me to talk about a project, I think, is when you're just starting to plan it. I talked to a guy today. He hasn't even submitted he hasn't even submitted his entitlements yet, but he just wanted to have that initial conversation. But when we really start getting serious is if you have a good set of plans that you feel confident about, you have your budget, you have your team in place, who's the developer. A lot of times there's a money guy behind them, and what's their credit like? What's everyone's credit like? And then it's about a 60-day close. So once you submit everything to us, the way our bank works is that you submit it to us, we give you a response right away if we're interested, usually within a few days. Then we have a site meeting. We go out and look at the site, we look at the plans. I bring out one of our senior people, and then if everything looks good, we both feel good about moving forward, then it's to the owner of the bank, gets to take a look at all the numbers and a write-up that I do, and if he signs off on it, then we're issuing an LOI. And then we're starting underwriting and then towards closing.